Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3440. Today's date is 7th of June 2025. It's been almost like morning at 8:55 a.m. All right, we directly jump into the question. All right, let's go. Okay, so question is, what paperwork do I need to start private limited company in India? Okay, that's a really good question. What paperwork do I need to start? Do I really wanted to start a business? Yes, I want to. I wanted to establish my startup. It is essential for me. But important is that I don't really know anything about business. I don't really know anything about startup. I haven't really graduated. I haven't really done any MBAs. I did nothing. Okay, yeah. Um, but if I wanted to establish a business, I need to know everything. Okay, even if my qualification doesn't really allow me. Okay, yeah. But still, I know I could do that. And all right, yeah. Okay, so what is actually the document do I need to establish my business? Okay, so if I wanted to establish my business, there are a couple of things required. Okay, yeah. Identity proof, um, voter ID card, Aadhaar card. Aadhaar card is a identity proof in India. Okay. Then basically driving license, PAN card. Okay. PAN card, yeah, PAN card. Then yeah, these are identity proof. Okay, yeah. PAN card is essential. Yeah, PAN card is essential. Then residential proof. Where do I live? Well, when I will establish my business, I will not gonna have any my place. Okay, like basically, I'm thinking as that key. I want to move to Pune, and I will gonna rent apartment. I will live there. Okay, and also I will gonna run my company into my apartment too. Okay, so probably I need a kind of like a simply evidence for residential. So I'm renting na, so I have to give them agreement. Okay, yeah, I have to show them that there is a rent agreement. um Also electricity bill. Okay, yeah, like a less than 2 month, or like try not to make that much old, like basically within a 2 month of electricity bill. Residential address, yeah, these are the residential address. If I'm kind of like a living at rent, okay, because I'm living in rent, so I need a kind of like a something authorization from my landlord. Okay, yeah, that key. I wanted to establish my business, and I am establishing my business at my landlord place. So landlord is actually giving me authorization to do that thing. Okay, yeah, along with the rent agreement. Okay, so this is kind of like a some letter I should supposed to be write from the landlord. Okay, yeah, with signature and everything. And then yeah, these are kind of like a some list stuff that I know. Okay, yeah, like a basic thing. Okay, but when I wanted to establish my business, I just did little bit of research. Okay, yeah, and found some sort of thing which is essential. So let's just go one by one. Okay, yeah. uh okay, so basically, okay, as I mentioned earlier, okay, yeah, residential address, electricity bill, yeah. Okay, so there is a kind of like a something I need to make memorandum of association. Okay, what's a memorandum of association? It's a kind of like a something that a form that you have to fill regarding about what kind of like a company you what kind of like a company you are, or what kind of like a simply product or service that you are selling to the customer, okay, to the government, okay. MOA, which is essential, okay, yeah. You have to fill up the kind of like a thing regarding about your company, what does it do, okay, yeah, and what kind of like a simply product or service that you are offering to the customer, okay, yeah. Then articles of association, okay, yeah, that is also okay, yeah, sorry. Let's talk about memorandum of association, okay, yeah. Let After I talk about article, okay, let's talk about first memorandum of association. Memorandum of association, in this form I just have to kind of like a fill up about the kind of like a something regarding about company, what does it do, what kind of like some product or service that they are providing to the customer. Also uh, also it has to be mentioned that ki, um, like how much can how much can investor own your company, okay, yeah, like a percentage of ownership. What do you mean by that? Like I started the company, so I own the company, na? Yeah, you are right. Okay, yeah, uh, but you need a money to run, okay, run the company, okay. And where that money came from? That money came from investor, okay, yeah. And why they will give you money? They will give you money is because of that they want a kind of like a some percentage of ownership, okay, yeah, regarding about company. Means like that if the company is actually being profitable, so they will kind of like get some sort of share. For example, like if there is an investor who actually invests so much amount of money and takes almost like a 5% of ownership, okay, yeah. So what is actually meaning of 5% of ownership? It means that in the future, whatever the profit that my company earn, 5% of profit comes to him, okay, I went to him, okay, yeah. So this is called kind of like a simply percentage of ownership, okay, yeah. Now this form, MOA form, it kind of like a simply define that how much you willing to give your percentage of ownership to the investor, okay, yeah. like um like as I mentioned, like in the previous example, I give 5% of ownership, okay, yeah. That means 95% of ownership is kind of like a something hold by myself, okay, yeah. So in this particular document you have to be decide that how much percentage of ownership that you want, or how much percentage of ownership that you will sell to the investor, okay, because you are selling the ownership now. So for me, for this artifact, I am like I'm not really sure, okay, yeah, regarding about the investing and regarding about the thing, okay, yeah. But one thing for sure is that if I kind of like a something giving the ownership to the investor, okay, yeah, that means they will control or they will run the app more than me. What do you mean by that? Okay, yeah. So example is this thing: if I give investor 50% of ownership, okay, yeah, like basically I have 50% of ownership and I give 50% of ownership to the investor, okay, yeah. So that means, yeah, I will have money to run the company, okay, yeah. But whatever the decision that I have to be took for run the company, I need a kind of like a some authorization from all those people, okay, yeah, because 50% they are kind of like a somebody partner too, okay, yeah. And I don't want that. I don't want to be asking permission to them to run my company. I don't want that, okay, yeah. Why? Yeah, why? Okay. Well, example, okay, as I already mentioned previously in artifact, but still I'm gonna mention again, okay, yeah. What does exactly investor will gonna do, okay, yeah. Well, basically what does investor what they want, okay, yeah. Investor want profit, okay, yeah. Regarding about which company you are, what company is this thing, no, they just only care about money, and they just only care about they have to be earn much more amount of money. Okay, they just only one thing that they want. Okay, yeah. So for that thing, they will gonna do the business kind of like a something not good as possible. Example, okay, you don't really understand, na? Just example. Let's just say I am a kind of like a something business. I am kind of like a something running clothing business. Okay, yeah, clothing business. So basically, how much like a what kind of like a stuff should I supposed to do to get my profit as much as I could? Okay, yeah. So if I wanted to increase my profit, what should I supposed to do is that I have to be invest money on marketing. I have to be invest money on kind of like a something a sale or things like that. Okay, I have to be diversify the kind of like a markets and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. Like all those techniques that I do in the marketing or anything, my profit will gonna increase. Okay, so that is good thing, na? Okay, that is good thing. Like basically is this thing. If the kind of like a somebody investor who is actually invest some sort of amount of money, let's just say like a investor is actually spend some sort of amount of money, and I'm giving them almost like a 51% of ownership. Okay, yeah. I have 49% of ownership. My business is a clothing business. Okay, yeah. So basically what is actually investor do? Investor want money. Okay, they want profit. Okay, yeah. So basically they will kind of like let me do the all the things regarding about how do we supposed to improve the marketing, how do we supposed to improve the kind of like a something as better, like a like basically sell the profit as much as it can. Okay, yeah. So that's why I'm doing marketing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So because of all those techniques that I do, the my clothing business is actually improve, I gain profit and things like that. Okay, so which is really good, na? So which is actually best for me, best for the investor, best for the company. It is all good. Yeah, that is good. But sometimes it is not best for a customer. What do you mean? Why? Okay, yeah. So basically what exactly happened that key, when you are only hunger for the profit, when you are only hunger for kind of like a profit and things like that, you are actually be more focused for kind of like a quantity of product. Okay, selling more and more clothes, more and more clothes and things and that. Okay, yeah. And basically by nature, by law, when you increase the quantity, the quality of the product will decrease. It's kind of like something automatically. It's a universal law. Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically it's this thing, like it's a universal law. Yeah, like I'm not made up by things. Okay, yeah. Okay, like basically why does Lamborghini has like a so much expensive car? Because like a Lamborghini or Ferrari or any sports car, they made a kind of like a somebody only one car at one time. Okay, yeah. And they are not kind of like a somebody making like a kind of like a thousands of robots and making like a conveyor belt and everyone. No, it's not. Okay, yeah. If they wanted to make a one car, they wanted to make the one of the best car, and all those humans are actually kind of like a implement their work to make one car. Okay, yeah. And because of this thing, their car is really good, they are really performance centric, they are really best, and like the flaws you didn't really found. Okay, yeah. What do you mean by that? like like you are actually mentioned this thing that if the robot is actually making the car, they will create flaws. Yes, they will create flaws. What the fuck is that? Okay, robot doesn't do mistake, human does, robot doesn't do mistake. Well, it is somewhat. What do you mean by that? Oh yeah. Okay, so okay, imagine. Okay, just kind of like a something. Imagine. Okay, yeah. So you are kind of like a something a paint. Okay, let's just say a paint. Okay, yeah. So let's just say a painter and printer. Okay, yeah. Printer is a robot, painter who is a person who kind of like a draw the painting and things like that. Okay, yeah. So what exactly happened that a painter can paint the things that he wants to paint. Okay, yeah, like basically a sunset painting or whatever it is, he kind of like uses creativity thought process to paint that thing. Okay, yeah. Printer doesn't do. Printer kind of like a somebody say that ki, like a kind of like a somebody that just take the photo and print that thing. Okay, yeah. So from both the point of perspective, okay, yeah, you might think that ki the printer, the print that came from the printer is kind of like a looks really real because it's a photo. It's a, you took the camera, you take the photo, you print the this thing. It's a really kind of like a something real thing. Okay, yeah. But when you look at the painting, the person who draw the painting, you like more painting than normal photo. What do you mean by that? Basically is this thing that key the camera or anything, that device that created is kind of like a something that it showcase the exact is it like a basically if you open the mobile camera and you just click the photo, you kind of like a see it's a kind of like a something same the photo that you are kind of like a seeing in naked eyes. Oh yeah. But when you paint this thing, you kind of like a something seen very different. Okay, yeah, a scene something very different thing. The paint brush stroke and kind of like a something the canvas and everything, it doesn't really match with the reality. There is some sort of flaws over there. The grass is not that much green, or kind of like a the sun is not that much shiny, but still it looks good. Like basically it felt really good to us. So that's why the value of the painting is much more than the printer who print. Okay, yeah. Also, we are human and we wanted to own such a product that is exclusive. Yeah, like basically we want to kind of like something proud to own such a thing which is kind of like something how very less people have access. Okay, yeah. Like this is what it is, na. That's why Mona Lisa painting is a kind of like only one of the expensive or one of the values painting is this thing because like basically they are like you will find a kind of like some millions of copies of Mona Lisa, or you will find the millions of print of the Mona Lisa painting. Exactly is it. You might not found any kind of like a difference, a visual difference, anything at all. Then why the Mona Lisa painting, Mona Lisa real painting gains so much amount of value? First is that Mona Lisa painting, the real Mona Lisa painting, was painted by the none other than Leonardo da Vinci, which is really amazing person. Leonardo da Vinci, he hold its own value. Another thing, the brush stroke, the kind of like a way that it created, the smile that he created. I knew that Leonardo took almost like a decade to make this painting. Okay, yeah, literally decade to make this painting, the smile and everything. So basically, is this thing, the Leonardo da Vinci, that person that I influence, like most of the people are actually influenced by this guy who spent almost like a decade of make this painting. So basically, because of that person put that much effort, of decade of effort for make this painting, automatically it added value inside of us. It added value inside of us. Okay, yeah. Like basically if someone is actually put lot of effort to achieve some sort of thing, when we heard that story, we kind of like something resonate with that person much more. Okay, yeah. And we try to connect that person much more, and that's why Mona Lisa real painting has so much amount of value. Okay, yeah. If you still not understand, giving you another example. Okay, yeah. So there is a two person, both the person are wanted to be an actor, A person or B person. Okay, yeah. So A person is actually from the kind of like a some poor family, but he wanted to be an actor. B person is a kind of like a some kid from kind of like a some superstar or things like that. Okay, yeah. Who do you think that which person has a kind of like a somebody easier to access in work in Bollywood or kind of like a film industry? Obviously B person, because B person his entire life kind of like a surrounded by the such a people who is associated with the film people, as well as his father is a superstar. So basically he has all those influence and everything. So ultimately that B person will become a kind of like a something have easier access to go into the filmmaking, go go into the film. But the A person doesn't really have that luxury. The A person doesn't really have that thing, but he wants to be a filmmaker, so he went to Bombay. He kind of like a do the struggle every single day, kind of like a something. Yeah, like it did something, a lot of stuff. Okay, so, and after all those kind of like years of effort of like a 10 year, 20 year, whatever it is, okay, now he went to the film. Now he went to the kind of like a some film industry, and when he went to the film industry, that effort that he kind of like says to the interview that he did this thing, he did that, he did that, most of the people are resonate with this thing, most of people are resonate with this particular guy, and kind of like somebody respect that person a lot. Okay, let's just example a two person. Okay, Ananya Pandey and Deepika Padukone. Ananya Pandey is a person who is actually her father is a kind of like a something a film person. Okay, and Deepika Padukone is like a normal kind of person. Okay, like she didn't really born as a film industry, nothing really at all. But who do you think who hold the kind of like a somebody biggest respect in your mind? Deepika Padukone, right? So this is what it is. This is what kind of like a something that our brain is actually proceed the information, and we judge not only for the person but as also kind of like a somebody what does that person do in his past. Okay, regarding about that we judge that particular person. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you, okay, I'm just kind of like going way far away of this kind of like a topic. Okay, so what I am trying to tell you is this thing that key uh, quantity versus quality. Okay, as I mentioned, okay, if you improve the quantity as well as quantity went down, that is kind of like a something associated with the business, associated with everything. Like basically is this thing that key the Ferrari car kind of like a make almost like a 100 cars per year. Okay, but BMW car makes thousands of car per year. Okay, so this is what kind of like a something is this thing like it does mean that ki BMW car has some sort of flaws. No, nothing really at all, but it's just like that ki look at the viewing point of perspective na. Okay, BMW car, what kind of like a assembly value that you gain inside of you, like a BMW 10 out of, I'm giving almost like a 10 out of 5 or 6. I'm giving Ferrari 10 out of 9 because Ferrari is a kind of like a Ferrari. Okay, if I'm trying to compare the BMW and Ferrari. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, when you kind of like a improve the number a lot, so if you kind of like a focusing on the number of product, then probably the quality of the product will depreciate, and that's a universal law, by the way. Okay, so this is what exactly happened. Okay, so in the clothing business, the person who actually selling the so much amount of clothing because of he wants to earn the profit. Okay, the company get the profit, the owner, the investor get the profit, everything will get the profit, but customer didn't really satisfied. They get such a product that they don't want, or they don't kind of like a something. Yeah, so the customer experience went down. Okay, so if the one customer the went down, or if the one customer didn't really feel really good when buy from you, then probably that cycle will not gonna hold that much longer. Okay, then what exactly happened that at the first month you kind of like do the marketing and things like that, and you get profit. Okay, but customer satisfaction didn't really went well. Second month it might gonna work, third month it didn't really work. Even if you put a lot of marketing, if you put a lot of money in marketing, then this customer will not gonna come. Okay, or maybe what exactly happened that if you do so much amount of marketing and things like that, then probably you will kind of like a something trapped in kind of like a something such a zone where you just have to do marketing. If you don't, then probably your product will not gonna sell. Okay, so this is also trap will also gonna happen. So regarding about the clothing business point of perspective, if you are kind of like a something is selling so much amount of products and things like that, okay, the quantity of the product will depreciate, the quantity will product will sorry quality of the product will depreciate, quality of the product depreciate, then entire company will kind of like a went down. This is what kind of like a something true fact. Okay, yeah. So that's why I think that the investor are kind of like only like they are only talking about the money. Okay, they are the investor, they are only talking about the money. Okay, yeah. So regarding about, I don't want to give them so much amount of ownership that they would kind of like actually control the profit, or they would try to manipulate the run the company or things like that. Okay, yeah. And as also regarding about my business, my artifact is a kind of like a something very um like a kind of like this is a kind of like a something tool that it can easily misuse legitly. Like as I mentioned earlier, artifact is a kind of like a something self thought or self recording or self reflection. Okay, yeah, you just asking question to yourself. The application, my app will ask the question to yourself, you have to give the answer things, and that I will ask such a question that kind of like a something improve your life, improve your thought process, improve your understanding of your life, what is actually that you want, what is actually your purpose, and what kind of like a stuff that you should supposed to do today to make your goal achieve, or whatever it is. Okay, yeah. Because I have past experience, I did this thing for almost like a 10 year, and I know how much value it get from artifact. Okay, yeah. And I don't want that ki my artifact should supposed to be work, or should supposed to be used for kind of like a something use for only this purpose, for kind of like improving this thing and that. And because of this thing, I am like after the 10 year I'm still recording artifact, and because of this thing I am willing to record artifact, because I love doing this thing, I love talking with myself, I understand myself, I understand my thought process and things like that. Okay, yeah. This is really good. Yeah, this is really good. Okay. But like what if like if I kind of like give them investor almost like a 51% of ownership, he will control the entire company. Then what is gonna do is that he will gonna control that ask us such a question that people will gonna listen more. Okay, yeah. What do you mean by that? Okay, yeah. So regarding about my app, let me tell you regarding about my app, how does I will gonna earn money. Okay, yeah. So basically it's this thing, people will gonna record the artifact, the self reflection process. Okay, like already mentioned regarding about my artifact in previous okay, but still I'm gonna mention this thing. People will gonna record their thoughts and things like that. Okay, yeah. And basically they will record. Okay, and that recording will gonna listen by the hundreds of people. Okay, yeah. Hundreds of people or millions of people, whatever it is. Okay, yeah. Now basically I will earn money through the advertisement. Okay, so basically there is an ad who is actually shown to the customer or shown to the people who are actually listening the artifact. Okay, yeah. They will kind of like simply listen some sort of ads and things like that. Okay, yeah. And because of ads, I am kind of like earning money from the advertisement. Okay, yeah. Me as well as investor too. Okay, so this is the way that I will gonna earn money from my application artifact. Okay, yeah. So basically what is actually happened that my entire like if I am giving the 51% of ownership to the investor, then probably the investor is actually a bit more focused for kind of like a something more and more people will gonna listen the artifact, not record the artifact. Okay, listen the artifact. Okay, because let me tell you one thing, my only one purpose for recording to making this app so that people will gonna record the artifact. Okay, yeah. More like basically I'm actually kind of like a thinking that more and more people should supposed to be record the artifact. Okay, yeah, this is my purpose. Listening is also thing like basically we also get influenced by the listening thought process too, but still I just want to be people more and more record of artifact. Okay, yeah. But if the investor is actually if the investor is actually holding 51% of ownership, he will control and he will bit more focus on people should supposed to be listen more and more artifact, listen, not record, listen. Okay, yeah. So basically listen means like that ki I have to be kind of like a showing a such a content, or kind of like a showing a such an artifact that people love to listen. And what kind of like a simply artifact that people love to listen? a kind of like a such a artifact which contains sexual, which contains hate speech, which contain kind of like a something such a lot of stuff. Okay, yeah. So in regarding about that, if I wanted to kind of like a sell that particular kind of content, then I have to be create that kind of like a content, like a hate speeches, sexual things. So basically, I will not gonna control this thing because 51% of ownership is actually controlled by the investor. So they will kind of like control that. He use this content, use this topic much more. Like use this like ask my app will ask this kind of like a sorry question to the people regarding about sexual, regarding about hate speeches, regarding about this and that, and people will start recording this thing. Okay, yeah. So what exactly happened that key, like in my app is actually meant for kind of like improving their personality and things like that. But instead of that, my app will kind of like somebody cripple them from inside it. Yeah, legitly. Like we are not just talk about sexually all the time. Yeah, like basically once in a week or once in a month. Okay, yeah. And if you are doing this thing, sexual thing, like you don't really feel that much kind of like a something a kind of like a stuff that you wanted to say, like there is like a kind of like some sexual activities, a kind of like a something similar. Okay, yeah, since the thousands of year, nothing really add on. Okay, yeah. But still, if you are kind of like a focusing on that particular topic, then people are just talking about the sex and things. Okay, yeah. And even if they don't really experience, they lie in the artifact. And because of this lie, their artifact kind of like a something gaining so much amount of views, because my artifact is literally focused on listening artifact. Like I'm literally focused on let them listen. So it is not, it is not like basically it is like a disaster for all the people who actually will gonna record the artifact. It will disaster for all the people. Yeah. And that the app I created, the technique that I created for decade of experience for improving myself, I'm just using my platform to kind of like a somebody harass them, or kind of like a somebody demotivate them, or kind of like a somebody de-confidence or underconfidence. It's a really fuck thing, dude. It's a really fuck thing. Okay, yeah. And in the end, the customer didn't really wanted to record the artifact, and then at some certain time, yeah. Like let's just example Facebook, huh? Okay, let's just example Facebook. When I Facebook was such a platform where people I love to hang out. I love to hang out. I really love to hang out. Like basically I open up the Facebook, sending some sort of friend request to the such of people that I love to know or love to chat वगैरह. It's a kind of like a, such a platform that I would connect with the people, and it was a really great platform, dude. I love it. But when I open the Facebook right now, it's just showing me advertisement all the time. And sometimes it shows me such an advertisement that I don't want, like a sexual kind of like a content or sexual things. Like I don't know. I just like I open up Facebook for kind of like a hangout with my friends, or kind of like a looking at what kind of like some people are doing in social and things like that. I wanted to like their photo and things, wagera wagera. But I just see the advertisement, and I just I don't want to kind of like somebody use a Facebook. Like literally for last 5 year, I haven't really used Facebook that much. Like basically I was so much person, like literally I was kind of like a something. I was created the fake account of Angel Priya. Okay, yeah. To kind of like a chat with a kind of like a something female person and things like that, because yeah, I don't know, female person can talk with a female person that much. So at that, yeah, I just I don't know. But yeah, I was like really crazy for Facebook, and Facebook is actually offering that kind of like a stuff was really crazy, dude, without any advertisement, without anything, just pure connection of your friend and things like that. And basically at the beginning, Mark Zuckerberg, like I seen his movie, I seen his documentary. At first Mark Zuckerberg was always against to the advertisement. He was kind of like a somebody showing the advertisement, showing his Facebook application as pure as it can, and it was like a really good experience, dude. Right now it's just hell. Okay, yeah. Is it because of like the ownership of Facebook is kind of like a went to the investor much more than Mark Zuckerberg? No, actually Mark Zuckerberg still holds a so much amount of ownership, but still there is some sort of change happened in Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not really sure what exactly happened inside of him, but still the Facebook is not holding the value that I was kind of like a simply just using at that time. So I don't want that ki my application kind of like a went that thing. Okay, yeah. If I wanted to kind of like a simply, I my purpose is to kind of like a simply make my app to kind of like a making them good, making them better, making them as better as I can from every single day. Okay, from every point of perspective. Okay, I just kind of like a somebody, when you talk with yourself, it gives you self reflection, who you are, what you are, and with honesty. When you are literally honest, now you just connect with yourself with way more efficient and things like that. So this is what I want. Okay, like basically I don't want to be changed my thought process. I just don't want to be like, basically I'm been with recording this artifact for almost like a more than decade and understand what is actually value of it. Okay, so basically I don't want that ki, I don't want that ki, I don't want to give the more and more percentage of ownership to the investor, because it is not good. It is really not that good. Okay, so basically, who will ever gonna invest some sort of amount of money in my application? I will gonna give, like, basically investing is really essential. I need a money to run this app. Okay, and I don't really have that money. I just only have this idea and things like that. And money is really essential for kind of like establishing this app and things like that. Okay, so so basically it's this thing that then how do you supposed to do this thing? How do you supposed to run the app without money? Or no, I will gonna give, like, I will gonna give the percentage of ownership to the people. Definitely I will gonna do that. Okay, but I will gonna make sure that the controlling of the running the app will kind of like a hold by me, or after the retirement. Like, I will not gonna do this artifact for rest of the period of lifetime. So basically it's this thing that after the retirement I will gonna hand over my company to such a people who is kind of like a authenticate, understand the gravity of it and try to figure it out. But at least like a 20-year I have to be run the company. After the 20-year I might gonna kind of like a simply giving my company to the someone else, that kind of like a only person could handle the artifact and things like that. But at the 20-year, okay, I should supposed to make sure that ki investor, like I will supposed to make sure that investor should supposed to be run the company. Investor should supposed to be invest some sort of money. I have to give some sort of ownership, but investor shouldn't supposed to be interfere with the running the business and things like that. But still, it's not possible. Yeah, because let me tell you one thing. Now they are investing money in my application, in my app. Okay, what does they want in return? They want profit na in the end. Oh yeah, like it's a kind of like a thing. They want their money back. Okay, and not just money. They want money back with the profit and things like that. Okay, so obviously is this thing, if I'm kind of like a in MOA, I'm kind of like a put the sentence that the investor shouldn't supposed to be control the app and things like that. But still in the future this will gonna happen. So it is all depend on that ki how much percentage that I'm giving to the investor and things like that. um I don't know about the how much percentage do I need to run the company. Okay, most people say that ki 51% is kind of like a had enough to control the entire company and things like that, because you are more than half. Okay, 51%, 50 means half, 51 means like more than half. Okay, so that is good, but I don't want that 51. I want it to be, I don't know. Okay, at the point, like, I thinking that maybe 80% or like a 85% or 90% of the ownership should supposed to be um, for me, and then 10% of ownership, 10% of percentage of ownership I have to be given to the investor probably. Okay, regarding about all those investor, like whatever, like how many investor that I found or willing to invest. 10%. Okay, 90% actually hold by me, I think that. But still in the future what will gonna happen, I'm not really sure. Okay, so this is MOA. Okay, so so this is MOA na. MOA means like that, kind of like a something rule book regarding about kind of like a company regarding about that key. how much that you willing to give the percentage of ownership to the investor and things and that you have to kind of like a quotation regarding about this thing. Okay, yeah. And it's not kind of like a somebody's stepping stone that you just have to return and it will not gonna change. No, it will gonna change. Okay, it will gonna change regarding about the investor, regarding about the how much kind of like a business went through and things like that. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Then AOA. Okay, AOA means articles of association. Okay, so it's a kind of like a article of association means like that key how is your company run. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing what kind of like a process is gonna happen in the app, like basically in the AOA form you have to be kind of like a something talk about the process regarding about creating product or creating service. Okay, yeah. So in my application, like what kind of like a stuff that do is that key when the people will gonna record the artifact. Okay, yeah, that artifact is kind of like a something went through multiple stages. First stage is that key refining stage, means like that key audio should supposed to be clear. Okay, yeah, first step means like that when the people will gonna record the artifact will gonna record the everything, like basically it will gonna record from the microphone, and microphone will record the everything surround the temperature, surround the noise and things like that. Okay, yeah. First step is that clear the noise and clear the everything and make sure that the person who is actually talking that voice should supposed to be clear, should supposed to be listened properly. One thing. Another thing is that ki another thing is that ki the if the person who kind of like at the spur of the moment kind of like a mention some sort of name or things like that, I have to be remove that kind of like a name or kind of like add a beep. How do I supposed to add a beep? Control that entire convert that entire artifact into the subtitle. Okay, into the subtitle in English, Hindi, whatever the language that artifact person kind of like a speak. Okay, yeah. That subtitle has its own time code. Okay, yeah. So basically when that artifact convert into text format, convert into subtitle format, then my AI, artificial intelligence, will kind of like read the entire subtitle. Okay, yeah. And kind of like found that ki which is the kind of like a text has a name. Okay, yeah. Like this name or that name or whatever it is. Okay, yeah. They have a name. Figure it out that key when that particular person says that name, like a time code. Okay, yeah. And add the beep over that time code. So that means kind of like something that key when I say Saurabh Authore, the other people will gonna listen my name is a beep. Okay, so this is kind of like somebody beep will gonna add, so I will kind of like a control the things. Okay, yeah. Control the privacy of the people who actually recording the artifact. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is kind of like a multiple stages. Artifact is actually multiple stages. Okay, and this all those things actually happen by the automatic, like there is no one is actually kind of like doing this thing. AI will kind of like do the all those things. Okay, yeah. Okay, now this artifact will kind of like simply feed to the such a people that those people who actually follow that particular person or things like that. Okay, yeah. Or kind of like a simply showing a such a so this artifact to the such a people who actually read his previous artifact or things like that. So kind of like something YouTube does same thing exactly is that. Okay, yeah. Now people will gonna listen that artifact and kind of like giving them the star. Okay, yeah. In my application doesn't really have like based system, it has a star based system, like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 5 star. Regarding about what is actually your thought process, things like that, the person will kind of like giving them 2 star, 3 star or 5 star. In this case 4 star. 4 star means recommend more people. If say kind of like it says 1 star or 2 star, then probably no star, then probably it will recommend to the less and less people. So this is what kind of like a things will happen. Okay, yeah. So it's a kind of like a something that this is the process regarding what file is actually happened, but the regarding about that process actually created by the humans, and that the humans means like that key engineers or kind of like a something people who actually control that. Yeah, it's a lot of things. Okay, AOA is a kind of like a something a form which kind of like a something mentioned regarding about a rule book that what is actually company will gonna work, what kind of like assembly power dynamics will gonna happen, like what kind of like assembly that key who holds the power, a chairman, vice person, president, chairman. Okay, vice president, then manager, team leader, employee, वगैरह वगैरह, how much kind of like assembly order it went flow from top to bottom, वगैरह वगैरह. So this is kind of like a things. Okay, I have to mention. Okay, yeah. Now fourth is a digital signature certificate. Okay, yeah. Like basically it's a kind of like a some digital signature, or like a um, thumbprint, or kind of thumbprint means like that. A digital signature, usually you have to be signed the digital sign, or uh, like what is actually thumbprint, like online thumbprint, na? Like a basically lock thumbprint. Okay, I'm not talking about kind of like a something like angutha shab. No, I'm talking about kind of like a sorry biometrics. Okay, I'm talking about biometrics or retina scan, things like that. If they want, they could do that as a director. Okay, yeah. Then there is a director identification number. Okay, this is actually generated if you are kind of like a, you have to be generated this number and things like that. SPIC form is also really essential to understand that key. It's a kind of like a somebody, you have to be kind of like all those information that you provided, like your name, identity, residential address, or kind of like a something MOA or AOA or everything, DIN, director identification pin, director identification number. Okay, yeah, everything is actually kind of like a base by SPIC form. SPIC form is a kind of like a something of one. It's a kind of like a something a license. Okay, yeah. Okay, you don't really get the license, by the way. It's a kind of like a somebody at the beginning of the license that whatever the information that I kind of like a showcase in the attached with the form is the right, is good, is a kind of like a something verified, and yeah, okay, and with a PAN card and everything, with all those taxation and things like that. So it is all those things. Also it include the GST number and things like that, or as also is this thing how much money, what is actually the account number, like basically your application or your business has its own account number too, which is kind of like a who hold that account number, who is the director, who is the multiple partner, वगैरह वगैरह, who is the investor and things like that, and basically where this money came from which country, वगैरह, and then currency, dollar or rupee or whatever it is. Okay, yeah, it's a lot of thing. Okay, it's not, SPIC form is a kind of like a supplement from entire process of the kind of like a somebody company, who hold the company, who is that company from, who is a chairman, who is a partner, who is a vice president, sorry, who is the president, who is a yeah, it's a lot of thing. Okay, then another thing, process of your company, who is the investor, and also is that key, if you earn money, then where that money is kind of like a stored, and which account number, that account number is a saving account number or fix or whatever it is. Okay, yeah, which bank hold that account number, where that money will come from. Okay, like a US, Europe, or yeah, like basically if you went to the global, then probably you will gonna earn money through the advertisement. Okay, yeah. If the advertisement is reach out to you, then how they supposed to be reach out to you. Okay, how they will gonna pay you and things like that, वगैरह वगैरह, everything detail. Okay, yeah, every detail according to all the details, passbook number, passbook print, everything. It's a SPIC form. Okay, yeah. It's a kind of, it's a, this form is actually work for multiple purpose, like basically before that, Indian government has a multiple forms regarding about establishing business in this state and that state and that state. But right now Indian government are kind of like a decided only one form to kind of like a control the everything. So basically each department of ministry, each department of the government ministry will kind of like a knows, they have kind of like SPIC form has a kind of like have the entire information regarding about your company, who run the company, everything. Okay, yeah, and that information is actually circulated through entire government ministry with the state and with the central. Okay, yeah. So basically the person who actually wanted to establish business, yeah, they don't really wanted to hassle all the paperwork and things like that. It should supposed to be happen everything very smoothly. Okay, and everything is actually happened by online too. Okay, then professional check, INC number, kind of like a somebody checking that everything that I mentioned in this company is right, verified, or whatever it is. Okay, yeah. Then yeah, so this is what kind of like a somebody document do I need. Okay, yeah. First of all is that key, if I wanted to establish this app and things like that, and business and things like that, so I need this form and things like that. But the information I might kind of like a simply like I need to know more regarding about this SPIC form and DIN number and things and that. And basically they mentioned that this is kind of like a stuff that chartered accountant will gonna do it very smoothly, because chartered accountant kind of like a somebody knows all those things, how do supposed to do that thing, वगैरह वगैरह, GST number and things and that. Yeah, as a normal owner of the company, will understand this thing, but probably as a chartered accountant will do that thing, it will much better. So, and having a chartered accountant for your company is also really essential for kind of like understanding the funding and things and where it calls, वगैरह वगैरह. So yeah. So will you gonna hire any chartered accountant, CA? Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah, but at the beginning I might not have any kind of like a money to give the money to the chartered accountant, but still I have to give the money to regarding about all this documentation verification, whatever. Yeah, this is it. I should supposed to end here, and thank you.